This is the biggest project that I've ever been on. I've been the superintendent here in Ozark region for going on 2 years now. I think it's going to be pretty awesome someday when I can bring my grandson or my granddaughter down here to Peck Ranch and drive around, maybe even see one standing up on the ridge top and be able to point that out to my grandkids, you know, and say, you know, your granddad had something to do with bringing those into the state. There's several different wildlife divisions in this, you know, through the food plot deal. Forestry's been in it through marking timber and stuff on to enlarge the food plots, and private lands has been involved in it, going around and talking to the neighbors around Peck Ranch, you know, and trying to get their support. And it's a department-wide project. Sometimes you take a bum rap for people say, well, you know, they don't get anything done or whatever, but I think through projects like this and the one down in Kentucky, I think the people in Missouri see that, you know, the Conservation Department, we're a can-do group, and, you know, if they give us a project, we're going to do it. We're going to get it done one way or the other.
I'm not a doomsdayer or anything like that. It's just, but when you look at other states where they have reintroduced these elk or any other animal, there's always unintended consequences that happen. I've expressed my concerns to the conservation that if we're going to have elk, we need to sit down and have a comprehensive plan to deal with these situations when they happen. They say they have a plan, but there's no specifics, there's no action plan. You know, they say, well, if you've got a problem with elk, you call us and we'll be there within 24 hours. Well, that's like somebody breaking in your house and you call the police and they don't come for 24 hours. What good does that do you? It does you no good. There's no doubt, and they'll admit to you that some of these elk are going to wander. So when they wander up through here and tear down my fence, and we've got miles and miles of fences, and these cattle are not in these pastures all the time. We rotate them around for good conservation practices. So are we going to have to spend extra time going around and checking our fences? As conservation, as an agent of the state, wants to bring them in, then the state should be responsible for their damages. You know, if we're going to bring in something that hadn't been here for over 150 years, we need to have real safeguards where it doesn't affect folks like me.
I look at it kind of as the epitome of a career. It's, you know, it's a great process. It's great to be part of an elk restoration, restoring a native species, and so I'm incredibly excited about it. There have been a number of states in the eastern part of the country that have done elk restorations, and it was something that, you know, given that they were here and we felt that we had a place where we could possibly put elk, some real significant citizen interest in an elk restoration, that kind of moved us forward in considering the restoration. Probably more than anything can kind of take a lesson from what some other states have experienced. And the critical element was row crop agriculture, and we wanted to avoid any place with row crop agriculture. And basically our elk restoration zone has no corn, soybean agriculture. In terms of elk vehicle accidents, other states with restorations, you know, it's going to happen and somebody will hit an elk, but the reality is very few elk vehicle accidents, not considered a significant problem in states like Arkansas and Kentucky.
We were all kind of excited and interested when they brought them. It was a novelty. And you actually get to see a big elk, you know. Wow. It just has not worked well. And then one of the major concern in the area is driving around here at night, you know, when they're roaming.
I always told my daughter, watch out for the elk, watch out for the elk. That's the one that he was standing right there in the road. It was dusky dark. I didn't see him till I was up on him. I hit him and he went up, and then he came back down into my windshield on my roof. They had to total my car out. It had elk hair and everything in it. And the police and all them, you know, they just couldn't believe that was just not hurt worse than I was.
I've got petitions. We had nearly 400 people sign them saying, get them things out of here. So that's kind of the consensus of the community. To me, it's just kind of a fascinating case of the interface between government and the private citizen when government's kind of gone, in this case, a little too far. Well, we're excited that they're trapping the 50 and sending them out to you guys, but we're not really happy for you. But we'll be glad they're gone, you know.
Well, we're bringing in 34 elk. We hope to see that survival rates will be high. Some people think that we're coming to the end of the elk restoration process, but the reality is we go kind of into the next phase, and that's basically monitoring so that we can kind of project population growth rates and determine when we want to hunt them and how many we take. It's going to be great. It's going to be really an interesting study. We're going to collect a lot of information. I think we're going to learn an awful lot about how elk fare in Missouri.